This woman has battled for 13 years to get justice for her murdered daughter.
I'll never ever give up, never. Till my dying day, and as long as I'm still drawing breath, and as long as there's someone to listen, I'll keep on going.
She knows who the murderer is. This man, who persuaded the courts to acquit him, then, when it was legally safe, boasted he was the killer all along.
He got away with a lot, really. He'd got away with killing my mum. And he'd basically a free man.
The killer is protected by a law passed 800 years ago that says people can't be tried twice for the same offence.
I want the law to be changed, but even if it isn't, I'll be one step behind him, like my daughter's ghost. A constant reminder of what he did to me and my family.
This is the story of a savage murder and one mother's relentless campaign that might yet help to rewrite Britain's law books. Julie Hogg was 22, a devoted mother and in daily contact with her family.
Julie was very outgoing and bubbly. She loved her life. When she was younger, she was quiet and shy, always around her mother.
She had a really good sense of humour. She was quite funny.
She was like caring, really caring, quiet, and a person who wanted things to be done right.
But as a mum and a little housewife, she was all right.
She'd drive home, and within 2 or 3 minutes she'd be on the phone for nothing of importance. It was just their nature. She didn't like to be by herself.
Julie was a teenage bride. On the day she married Andrew Hogg, the sun shone on them both, and life looked good.
They seemed to be very much in love and looking forward to the future together.
But by autumn 1989, the marriage which began in such hope was in trouble. Julie and Andrew split up. Their son Kevin lived with her. Early on November the 16th, after a night shift delivering pizzas around Teesside, Julie was due in court for an important separation hearing. Kevin was with his grandparents.
I telephoned Julie at 7:30 on the morning of the 16th of November, and when I got no reply, I just thought she was in deep sleep and hadn't heard the telephone. So, after being ringing quite a while, I decided just to drive down to the house with Kevin. Knocked at the door, shouted through the letterbox. All the curtains were closed, doors were all locked. My gut feeling told me straight away something was wrong. I don't know, I just had this feeling. I just didn't know what to do. I went and got my son out of work to come and break in the back door. Room by room, everywhere was very, very tidy, which was out of character for Julie. She was quite an untidy person. I mean, she would get out of bed in the morning, throw the duvet back, and then shake it back over on the night. But the bed was made, everywhere was tidy. And that aroused his suspicion even more. So I telephoned the police then. They said she might have gone out, you know, be with some friends. The best thing for me to do was to go home and wait for her to phone.
One policeman said, she's a typical case. She's due for a legal separation. She got fed up, walked down the road and hitched a lift to London. No.
I knew what Julie was like. You know, she knew deep down there was something wrong. She hadn't just gone out for the nightclub, as the police thought. Maybe she'd been to a nightclub and stayed somewhere. She knew it wasn't that.
Julie's house remained as silent as the grave. Her parents repeatedly went to the police with their worries. As every agonizing hour passed with no news, their nightmare was only just beginning.
We went to Stockton Police Station and we met the inspector who was in charge of the investigation, and we told him this is not somebody who's disappeared from home. This is somebody who's disappeared mysteriously, and I'm telling you, as a mother, something's happened to our daughter. And I felt that was the first time in 3 days that somebody finally took us serious.
Julie's distraught family believed the key to her suspicious disappearance was hidden in the silent rooms of her tidy house.
The officer in charge asked for a forensic examination of that house, which was carried out. And that was a detailed examination to establish whether any evidence showed of any harm had come to anybody.
Police began their search some 4 days after Julie's reported disappearance. These video pictures of what they found have never been seen publicly before. Police told us they no longer had a copy of the tape. We've uncovered this one from elsewhere. Clothes wait to be taken out of Julie's washing machine. Plates and cutlery drain by her sink. Kevin's trike is near the door by the unopened mail. The house is eerily empty. After 2 days, Julie's mother rang the search team to check their progress.
I telephoned Julie's house, and one of the forensic team answered the telephone. And I said, "Oh, it's Julie's mum here." I said, "Have you found anything?" And he said, "There's no dead bodies in here, if that's what you mean."
Mrs. Ming visited the house herself and joined the searchers in Julie's cramped bathroom.
On the bathroom window ledge was Julie's makeup bag, birth pills, everything. I said, "You're telling me she just took off to London?" I said, "She's left everything."
The longer the police poked about in Julie's possessions to little effect, the more concerned her family became.
At the end of the search, the inspector in charge of the case came to see us. And his very words were, he said, he couldn't guarantee us that our daughter hadn't come to grief somewhere in the country, but he could guarantee us nothing untoward had happened to her in that house.
You were getting worried. Where can she be? We used to be driving round, looking round. You get to a point, well, to be exact, I thought I was going out of my mind.
The search over, Julie's house was locked up, and with it, a terrible secret the police had not found. Officially, Julie was a missing person. As Christmas approached, her mother and little son Kevin made an emotional television appeal for her to come home.
Mummy.
So I kept racking my brains to think, well, you know, why? If she has just took off as the police are suggesting, why would she do it? And I wanted to believe them because I wanted her to be alive.
She would never just go off and leave Kevin, never at all. Never.
But my gut feeling told me she was dead.
Please, friends, anybody, just let us know you're alive, Julie, that's all.
Almost 3 months after the police had searched Julie's house, they returned the keys to her husband, Andrew. He and Kevin intended to move back in, but there was a problem. A terrible smell in the bathroom. Andrew called his mother-in-law for advice.
I walked in the house. Since I'm starting to go up the stairs and could smell the pungent smell. Inside was screaming, "Please God, don't let it be Julie." But outwardly I was like slow motion, just going up the stairs, walked into the bathroom, and before Andrew and Julie had split up, he'd taken all the tiles off around the bath, and I leaned over the bath to smell the wall, hoping that the smell would be from where they'd taken the tiles off. And as I leaned over the bath panel like wafted against my knees, and the smell came out stronger, and I just bent down and just writhed one corner of it open, and it was under the bath. And I just ran down the stairs and screaming at Andrew, she's under the bath, she's under the bath. Kevin stood next to me crying, he didn't know what was wrong. And I'm screaming up to Andrew, please God, tell me it isn't. All I heard him say was, Jesus Christ, no. And he just started running down the stairs, and I just said, Dan, na.
It was murder now. Ironically, police had stood barely 2 feet from Julie's body when this video was made. Detectives hurried back to the house. The hunt was on for Julie's killer.
I mean, at first you think it's impossible. But as I got in now, his hand screaming. And she's told us what had happened. Well, screamed it.
I was absolutely hysterical. I just kept seeing her, kept smelling her. Couldn't get the smell out my nostrils.
And at that, the police come. Paid another visit. And he didn't look very good.
27 Grange Avenue had finally given up its secret, some 80 days after Julie's killer pushed her naked, sexually mutilated body under the bath. We've established that 29 police officers had either searched or been present in Julie's house. No one found her watch, diary and cash card tossed suspiciously in the loft, and no one thought to unscrew the bath panel and look behind.
Are you disappointed that your officers weren't able to find the body the first time?
Naturally, from a professional point of view, and I'm responsible for the overall professional conduct of the investigating officers, there is a degree of disappointment.
I just couldn't believe that they'd been in a 3-bedroom terraced house for 5 days, a team of forensic officers, and failed to find Julie's body.
She's probably right to feel aggrieved about the fact that her daughter's body wasn't found by the police. However, I've no evidence, certainly in the papers that I've examined, to sustain the fact that the police did not take her reports very seriously.
I still believe in my own heart, if Julie had a different kind of job, a different lifestyle, or she was somebody important, they'd have found her that week.
Cleveland police paid Mrs. Ming £10,000 compensation after their failed search. But no amount of money could blot out the trauma she suffered and could never escape.
You plunge into this world where the word murder had been an alien word to you and your family, and then all of a sudden a member of your family, your daughter, had been murdered, and you're living and breathing it every minute of the day. You can't get it out of your mind. It's just an alien world.
The dramatic discovery in Grange Avenue made the local evening paper's last edition. But the story made Julie's family furious.
At 8:45, my phone rang, and it was Mrs. Ming. She said, "I read the story last night and I want an apology." I said, "What story, Mrs. Ming?" "About finding Julie." I said, "Well, what can we do for you?"